our first striking technique is going to be a downward figure eight. Remember, from the position that we're holding the stick, the stick has blade awareness. So if I drew a white line straight up the front of my stick, that would represent if I was holding a sword or if I was holding a knife. So that line in the center of the stick is going to be what makes contact with my attacker, what's going to make contact with the other person's stick, my opponent's stick. So from here, a downward figure eight, every time that I strike out in front of me, that white line right up the center of my stick, right down through the center of my fist, would be making contact. So a downward figure eight swing, our first attack would look like this. Striking, turning it over, striking down, turning it over. And it's just a simple downward figure eight motion. The next attack, technique number 2 that I want to go over, would be a horizontal attack, meaning that the stick would strike straight across, whether I'm attacking the head, elbows, knees, but it's swinging side to side straight across. But if you notice, the stick still has blade awareness. I'm palm hand up as I come across, so that blade edge of the stick would make contact, flipping it over, blade's edge of the stick would be making contact. So it would just be a simple horizontal strike. And then the next one would be an upward figure eight. Again, blade edge of the stick, the front side of the stick, striking up, flipping over, up, striking up, and it would be an upward figure eight, or an upward swing. Whether you're going for the elbows, head, whether you're making swinging motions or fast motions, it's still an upward figure eight, horizontal, and downward figure eight. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my partner, Mr. Epps, and we're just going to go through those 3 attacks nice and slow for you. Again, each time the same point of the stick, area of the stick making contact. So we begin with a downward figure eight, and I urge you guys, Kali is a flow, nice and slow, nice and controlled, keeping the backhand up and alive. Don't just let it hang down from the side of you. And that's downward. And then we go horizontal, straight across. And we go upward. Horizontal. Downward. And time. Next 2 techniques I want to talk about. The first one is called hit and retract. And that's the position the stick is in, just making either a forward motion in and pulling back to where it started, or a backhand motion in and pulling back where it started. So basically I'm hitting and pulling the stick back, whether it's going to the knees, to the head, from the forehand side or the backhand side. That technique is hit and retract. So if Mr. Epps has his stick pointing straight up in the air just like this, then I could practice my hit and retract. From this position, I would simply either forehand coming in or backhand, pulling straight back, forehand coming back. That's called hit and retract. The next technique would be just a follow-through strike. So imagine you're swinging a tennis racket, you're swinging a baseball bat, which means it just strikes through and follows completely through, whether it's backhand, backhand, or forehand, the stick is following through with its motion. Same thing you could practice with your partner carefully. Again, follow through motion, backhand. Now, something very important is when I'm doing the follow through motions, where the stick ends up. If I strike the stick out with follow through motion, it's going to turn and end up underneath my arm. If I bring the stick out with follow through motion this way and strike backhand, it's going to turn over and it's going to end up high. So forward strike it ends up low. Starts high, strike, and ends up low. Backhand strike comes out, starts low, and then ends up high. One more time, striking with follow-through motion. Backhand motion.